Hello, everyone. Welcome to Apogee Up Close webcast. Just before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items that I wanted to quickly go over with you. At the bottom of your screen, there is a ribbon with multiple engagement tools you can use for this webcast. All of the windows that appear in your console are resizable and movable, so feel free to adjust them to your liking. You can expand your slide area or maximize it to the full screen by clicking on the arrows in the top right corner. And then be sure you hit the slides on the ribbon at the bottom to view the slide content. There are some additional resources as well. There's materials that are available in the resource window at the right side of your screen. And we encourage you, obviously, to download those and review those at your leisure. The webcast is being streamed through your computer, so there is no dial-in number. And at any time during our live session, you can ask questions. We recommend not waiting until the end. You can submit them in the following Q&A window as pictured in the screenshot. And we will try to answer all of those questions as best as we can. And if you have any problems or if there's any other issues throughout, just ping us, let us know. Or if you want to have a deeper conversation with more questions that we can't necessarily cover today, you can reach out to me directly. And my email is chrishood@google.com, CHRISHOOD@google.com. So please know we are here and we're going to capture all those questions. And we are going to actually record this video, this stream today, so that it will be available later. And then we'll send that out so that you have that as well. Okay, great. Let's get started here. This is Evolve Your Business with API Ecosystems. My name is Chris Hood. I am a digital strategist at Google Cloud. And joining me today is Shahzad Aslam from CHAMP Cargosystems. Welcome, Shaz. Want to share a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Chris. My name is Shahzad Aslam. I'm Director of Product Management based in London, and I'm responsible for our key product, cargospot, which many of the airlines use, and we'll discuss more about that later.
Well, really great to have you. Appreciate it. I've heard your story. I'm excited to share that story with all of our people today who are joining us. Let's get right into it. Let's first look at a quick overview of what we're going to cover. So we are going to cover a little bit about ecosystems. I know there's some questions out there about what a digital ecosystem is. We're going to look at your story. I'm going to ask you some questions along the way. And then we're going to open it up for the audience to be able to ask some questions and just look at some next steps. Okay? So during these unprecedented times, organizations across the globe are facing severe and several different types of challenges. And the way customers interact with businesses has changed drastically. Digital has become the first and preferred touch point. But if contactless payments and order online and curbside pickups and even every interaction in some way is influenced by digital, we have to better understand how do we expose these digital experiences to customers quicker, get to market faster, especially as times are changing. So let's first really just quickly understand, what is a digital ecosystem? I think that's a question that gets asked a lot. Digital ecosystems are really the foundation of how you connect to partners or to customers through various forms of technologies, APIs. Usually primarily the API ecosystem allows you then to expose pieces of your company through data or through products with other companies so that they can embed your technologies and your data into their services, thus expanding the reach and the breadth and the demographics and even the markets for who you can connect with through that data and through those products. That's what we're talking about. And if you really look at some of the priorities that customers have today, they are directly related to your digital transformation programs that probably most of you are doing or attempting to do. And so the need here is really, how do you accelerate those digital efforts so that you can stay relevant, especially in this changing times. You know, a lot of people we talk to, we discuss this outside-in approach, where we begin to look at what the customer's needs are and begin to build, again, these digital ecosystems that can help accelerate the digital transformation and get to market faster and get those products that they are looking for in their hands quicker. So we had a survey recently in partnership with Oxford Economics. We surveyed over 1,000 CIOs in very large organizations, over $2 billion in revenue. About 50% of the people we surveyed had 10 billion plus in revenue. And we really wanted to understand what it was about ecosystems and the strategies around building digital ecosystems that cultivated different relationships and the ability to get to market faster. And some of the results that we found were really incredible. Digital business ecosystem leaders, these are really a subset of the CIOs from the different companies that we would say are ahead of most of their other companies in this space, reported that the following direct benefits of the approach of ecosystems were top of mind. 96% of them said that their brand is perceived better than others in their industry when they had an ecosystem. Leaders also reported about 6.7% average annual revenue growth over the last 3 years. That's a huge number if you think about it. Imagine if I could come in and tell all of you, we can increase your revenue by 6.7%. I'm sure a lot of you would say, yes, sign me up. Ecosystems were the catalyst to help make that happen. And over half, 52% of CEOs with a deep and integrated digital ecosystem said these relationships, the relationships with the partners and the customers, greatly enhanced innovation, while CEOs with more basic relationships are much less likely to see that boost in innovation. And to build that deep and integrated digital business ecosystems, these tools and processes like APIs were really seen as the most critical piece of the puzzle. Over half of them said that APIs are important to their organization and the relationships with developers and customers. But the critical piece here, you know, outside of increasing your revenue, the critical piece is understanding how these ecosystems support your business value. When asked to what extent do your business relationships and ecosystems support the following business goals, either today or in 3 years, customer satisfaction, financial performance, which we just talked about, and successful and rapid innovation are all substantially important to them in the next 3 years. So how about if we ask you a quick question? We'll pose this to everybody who is watching and listening. How does your organization engage and innovate with your partners, supply chain channels, and digital ecosystems? There's a couple of options there. We are not actively expanding. We are augmenting existing partnerships, etc. You can read those, fill in the answer, and we'll come back real quickly and look at the results in just a moment. So Shaz, let's look a little bit more about CHAMP. Can you share more about what your organization does and what challenges you are working to solve?
Thank you, Chris. And thank you once again having me. And I'm really pleased, really excited to share our journey and our story, how we are evolving and already evolved to the level of APIs we have today. So I'll take a couple of minutes just to give audience a bit of a view what CHAMP is, what do we do, where we operate, and what is our industry. So we are dedicated to air freight, basically. And air freight actually by value is 35% of the world trade, which is around $6 trillion, basically. If we talk about parcels, e-commerce, with air cargo, we send around 20 million parcels in 24 hours. So it's critical to a really very important segment and industry in our life, right? We are around more than 1 million smartphones are shipped within 24 hours. So vaccines, life-saving medicines, and things like that. So we are only focused in the air cargo, and we have customers around 200 customers, which are airlines primarily. Around 70 of them are airline, ground handlers, organizations which help to ship and do the ground operations of the cargo, agents, and things like that. So we have an ecosystem where we have basically airlines, ground handlers, and these organizations who work together to make the air cargo happen, basically. And if I a little bit explain the chain that is in the air cargo from a shipper to consignee, when the goods are manufactured and shipper place an order, which is coming from another continent or a country, then it goes through different organizations, through trucking companies, through customs, before the export, security checks, the government checks to make sure the safety and everything around that. Then the transport of the goods by airlines, and the arrival side, again, there are organizations, again, customs and import agents are involved to make sure goods are finally delivered to consignee. So there are many, many organizations involved to make sure a single shipment is delivered from shipper to consignee. And all of these use different variety of systems, right? And the challenge we have in our industry that these systems basically need to talk to each other, because at the end of the day, shipper or consignee need to track the shipment. And to make the actual tracking happen, we need to know whether the shipment is on hold in custom or where it is actually. So that means the integration is a key challenge in our industry due to nature of this, and because various systems involved around that. And the visibility of information is the key challenge that we have around this in our industry. And that's one of the things that is basically historic challenge of air cargo. And the technologies like APIs give us advantage that we can solve this challenge much, much better than ever before. The other thing is this also brings us to new demands and shifting and creating a value addition, coming up with new basically ideas of the business which were never thought before. So with within the ecosystem, with the help of integration, we do the value creation, and our customers in CHAMP now demand more and more their customers' user experience, because customers' experience is quite demanding and changing. And this leads us to the challenges of how we are basically more quickly giving new ideas into the market and making a new business model, new ways of working, allowing new mobile apps, using our internal microservices to quickly orchestrate them to achieve the value for customers. So this is basically what is our challenge and what we want to do in this area.
Yeah, this is great. And I'm going to go back one slide, because in this picture where we see that journey that your customers go on, you've clearly outlined in each of these steps where APIs start to play a role. And you call it out, because now
Correct.
You can start to say, I need an experience here, or I need an integration here, or I need to build something that's going to connect to build this overall customer journey.
Yes, absolutely. That's one thing. And the other thing which it highlights, Chris, more importantly, is also this is an opportunity for us as CHAMP because we see it as a new product and something that could generate revenue for our customers, because our customers could use these APIs and come up with the new business models, which open new doors for them for new revenues. And that is really the key thing as well. Not only solving the integration, while solving the integration, creating new value addition, which was not there before, basically.
Yeah, and that goes back to our point earlier where we see an increase in revenue, 6.7% over 3 years through these ecosystems. It's great. Well, let's look at our poll results here. And here you go. This gives you an indication now of how organizations are engaging and how you and our respondents are looking at ecosystems. And here's how we look at those. These are great results. If you look at it, the ideal scenario, it's this. We are actively expanding our capabilities to build digital ecosystems for strategic business advantage and innovation. This is exactly what Shaz was just talking about. Here's another question for you. How quickly does your organization get new ideas to market? 1 to 2 years? And believe me, I've heard this. 1 to 2 years is a thing. 1 to 2 months, 1 to 2 weeks, 1 to 2 days, 1 to 2 hours. Very curious to see what everybody says in this poll. So, Shaz, how do you improve time to market and still comply with all of these requirements within your industry? Obviously, there's got to be a lot in there, but you have to navigate all of that, get it done, and get to market fast. How are you doing that?
Yeah, actually, this is really good question, Chris, because in aviation and in air cargo, due to safety requirements, regulations, and involvements of authorities and governance is really, really high. So anything that touch flight safety, the testing around that, making it to the production, there is quite a long cycle to make it happen, right? So there is a balance that we have to do. Obviously, there are things around safety cannot be compromised, but we need to market fast, otherwise we miss the opportunity. So to achieve this balance, the key thing for us that we are trying to do in CHAMP, and that is what our customers demand, is that we don't have to, we're trying not to change our core systems, so that we don't have to change the existing code or the logic. So we try to use our existing services or our existing logic in a fashion using the platform like APG with orchestration, that we try to basically improve the time to market using existing microservices that were written for some other purpose. We reuse them, combine them, and achieve the goal that we need to achieve, so that we don't have to go through all the governance, and we can have a light version of that and achieve basically the time to market, which is one of the key drivers for us towards APIs. Is time to market is the key thing for us that we are looking in this area. So again, that helps us to accelerate the digitization, whether it's our partner, our customer who want to do quick mobile app, so that we don't have to actually develop any code for that. We just expose the APIs and they can do that, whether it's a payment through a payment gateway, or whether it's track and trace or any other need for that. So as it's articulated in this slide, so the gateway APG platform is really helping us to achieve this. And the way it is happening, that the portals, mobile apps, our partners, our customers, we basically expose the APIs. Then our APIs are connected through various internal systems. And this is where I mentioned we try not to change the internal systems, which is cargospot, global customs, cargo hub here, and we only expose through APIs and achieve. So that's basically how we are trying to improve the time to market.
So here we go. Okay, here's our poll results. You give a good idea of what it takes for most organizations to get things to market. Chaz, was there something additional you wanted to talk about?
No, that's fine. I think it's okay. It's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think these numbers are that surprising. The thing is I would say that the really, deep organizations with digital ecosystems are doing it faster. And that's the goal here. So when CHAMP started to put together some of these ideas and they wanted to build upon them, did you do a proof of concept first? What was your process really for deciding to use Apigee? And what were some of the things that you learned during that process?
Okay, so why we were looking for the API platform, first of all, that we wanted to have a standardization, how we publish our APIs, and make it kind of a self-service for our customers and our partners so that we don't have to support, because we don't have time to tell them how to integrate to our APIs and answer their calls and emails. We want it to be as seamless as possible. Go to our self-service portal. It explains everything. You can do a mock, and then you can do a real app. So that was basically overall goal, ensuring that we don't have to implement security in-house, so we use the platform capabilities to achieve that. The process that we followed, we did an internal proof of concept. We also involved actually kind of a consultant or a third party, another organization, to help us in that area or to evaluate more professionally. So we did evaluate 4 different platforms. I think the key thing that stands out for Apigee, there were 2 main things. One was analytic and also monetization, so that we are able to monetize these APIs and help our customers to monetize that. And the second thing was about integration and development capability, CIDC basically, and the development capabilities. Because what we wanted to do, and that links back to time to market, what we wanted to do, reuse our existing logics and services and low-level APIs, which are not meant for public APIs or partners for customers, and have the help of Apigee platform to use these and to develop these so that we don't have to change our system. So that is the key thing why we went. These 2 key things were the decisive, basically, action towards Apigee.
And then what opportunities along this way did you discover? I mean, as we've said, we're in changing times. We have to try to figure out a way to get to market faster. You now have a product that's in place that is allowing you to accelerate the time to get new ideas to market, not years, not months, maybe weeks, maybe days. How did you go about that?
So actually, that's really good. So I think not even before COVID, we had we have the cases where we actually were managed to really make from an idea to production within a week and 2 weeks, and that's what we were looking. But as you know, due to pandemic, it closed many doors. Many planes are grounded, and especially our industry is in a big trouble on a passenger side because of tourism and everything is blocked. Although it closed many doors, but it also opened some doors. So air cargo side, there are some opportunities due to pandemic. As you can see here, it never happened. We have probably never seen in our lives that there will be boxes on the seats where we used to travel. So that is quite an interesting new business model. Aircrafts which were not designed to take cargo in the cabin, the airlines are using that because they have to come up with the new models to make more money to survive in these difficult times. And there is need of urgent supplies. There has been need. There's still many countries need urgent PPE supplies and medical supplies. We have seen the deals happening on tarmac where, aircraft has been changed and things happening. So this brings up quite opportunities from in the air cargo segment, but for us as well. And I'll talk 2 of these use cases actually, which are quite interesting. So one of the use cases, we have a customer in Japan, and they have domestic flights, one of these use cases. And they wanted to explore a new business model where they could basically compete with road transports, because Japan is quite a long, narrow country, and going from one place to another, it could take really long. So domestic flight really helped to ship the cargo. But the idea was, how can we actually compete with road transport and other modes of business? How can we get new business avenues which we don't have today? So we had the portal which we developed for one of our customers, and what we explored that, can we use our microservices which were not meant to use as a public APIs, and with the help of RPG platform, we transform those microservices within RPG without changing again our core system, and we were able to do this use case. So this is quite interesting. And another thing relevant to this, many airlines now are actually doing more and more ad hoc business, which means they need to open up on the places like booking.com, things like that, portals for cargo, and we needed to integrate quickly. So to do that, we were able to really do, within a week's time, availability and price API, which we were managed to actually from scratch, managed to make it into production for one of our customers, and that is really key. Another use case that we did in U.S., basically in one of the very big ground handler, Alliance Ground, they asked for to integrate with the weigh scales to automatically capture the weight of the shipments into the systems. So instead of us developing and interfacing that, we had two other APIs which we developed for our mobile app, completely different reason. We were managed to use those APIs again with the help of RPG platform, publish it through RPG platform, and this we managed to do it within 5 days actually. And that was great achievement for us. Customer was glad. We were very happy that we really can improve time to market through this way. So that's what I would say, Chris, is the key thing. Yeah, I believe we.
Yeah, no, this, then, yep, I was going to say that was
I have a lot to say, sorry, but I have a lot to say, but I'm conscious of time.
Yeah. No, it's great. And I think one of the things that we got out of this, not only could you get new ideas to market, within weeks, but you were able to generate new revenue for your business while also generating new business for your partners.
Correct.
Who were involved in the ecosystem. So it expands out, which really brings us to the slide. And from Google's point of view here, as you start to build these new experiences, as you start to focus on this outside-in perspective, and as you start to think beyond just creating one journey, which we saw that customer journey at the beginning of our presentation, when we start to look at this through onboarding developers and bringing in new partners and interacting in new ways with your customers and exposing this data in a way that they can then innovate on your behalf, we start to not see one journey, we start to see 10 journeys and beyond, 10x those journeys through these ecosystems. And we see it from our results when we surveyed CIOs, and we see it from your two use cases and your story at CHAMP. It's truly incredible and impressive. Thank you for sharing that. And so let's spend some time. Let's look at some questions. And here we go. I've got a couple of questions for you. Actually, one just came in. If you have questions, feel free to reach those out down on below and ask your questions in the Q&A spot. So, Shaz, how do development partners get access to CHAMP's APIs?
Oh, that is one of the key advantage we got out of Apigee. We have a developer.champ.arrow. So we have a developer portal. Please actually go visit developer.champ.arrow, register yourself, and you will get access to some of our APIs. So we have a developer portal through which we give access to our partners. There is a sandbox environment there, which is an Apigee platform, which is branded on CHAMP, and you would be able to basically play with the APIs. So this is how we allow. All the specification is available, and that is the idea of self-service integration, what we say, basically.
Yeah, so, and I see a couple of questions coming in here related to how they get access. So, yeah, thanks for sharing. Let's see, we've got another one in here. Maybe on a different side of this question, how does CHAMP look for or find partners? How do you onboard those partners into your ecosystem?
Yeah, that actually that happens through many different ways. One example I would give you, we have a very important partner, PayCargo. And PayCargo is actually a payment platform for the cargo collection, basically, especially at the import side. And we connect our core system through APIs with the PayCargo. And the way we basically do is promoting our APIs, and many other organizations get the opportunity. That's one. Our customers refer us. That comes through into our ecosystem as well, or it comes through new business opportunities where we get a new idea, where we think we have an organization already which could do, instead of us inventing something, and that's again bring us the use of APIs, that we can then use the APIs to have this partner to work together and have a new product, basically, that we can invent jointly through this integration and bring new value to our customers.
Great. We have time for one more question, and then I have a couple more things I want to share with everybody. Let's see. Is it possible to create an ecosystem that are not external to the public? So I'll give a quick perspective on this. Yes, we see a lot of times where companies do have internal ecosystems, especially when they have multiple business units and you want to try to bring those business units together. But we do find that the true benefit, the true power of digital ecosystems, and when you expose those APIs externally to partners and customers and third-party individuals, that is when you really get to connect in ways that you haven't realized when you only keep those internal. And that's where we're seeing business value, easier time to market, rapid innovation, increased revenues, new markets, et cetera. So I would definitely say you can build them internally, but it would be better if you figured out a way to do it externally. Real quick, if you could, you can take 3 minutes, do a quick scan of your phone on this, and share some feedback to us about this webinar. We would love to hear what you think, what your opinions are, any feedback that you have. It would be great to hear. And then also, on the bottom here, we've got a link to the full Oxford Economics report that I referenced a little bit earlier. So if you want to read the full report and see what CIOs have said regarding all of the various topics that we've covered today, that would be where you can get that. And then finally, we are happy to also announce that we have a podcast. And it's near and dear to my heart because I host it, but we would love for you to go and find this podcast, That Digital Show. It is available on all of your favorite platforms. Go and subscribe and listen to additional ideas around thought leadership and digital transformation. So once again, thank you. Thank you, Chaz. Thank you, everybody, for listening and joining and participating. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace, for having me. Thank you.
Thank you all.